Welcome to the Fantasmagorium show. On today's show, forecasting a weekend box office is harder than figuring out how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. James Gunn has never seen Jaws in a movie theater, and court is adjourned for Christine Sullivan. Let's go.
And we are live.
Hey, Steve, what's going on, man?
Not much, Scotty. How was your weekend?
It was all over the place. I did so many things. I think I even questioned the sexual proclivities of hobbits. I'm not sure. I was very inebriated.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see how that could happen from time to time. Interesting. I worked on the show over the weekend. I did get to watch some TV and stuff over the weekend, which is good. I did get to see Suicide Squad that we'll talk about here in a bit, which was awesome. I loved it, by the way. We won't go into any spoilers because you haven't seen it yet.
No.
But yeah, it was really good. I saw that on Thursday. I got my Harley Quinn shirt, which was cool. That arrived this morning.
You're looking foxy.
Right? And I'm ready to do a show. Before we do that, though, we'll do like we do every day. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things. Hit the little bell, please, so that way you're notified when we go live. And usually our shows are pretty regular, but sometimes we'll get a wild hair and we'll do a show out of nowhere. So that way you'll be notified about that. Also, we have, if you'd like to send in a tip with your comment or question, please do so. www.streamelements.com/phantasmagoriumshow/tip. Check out our website, www.phantasmagoriumshow.com. You get movie news there. You get our shows there. Also a link to our audio-only podcast. Also, that's where we have our merch shop. So pick yourself up a T-shirt or a hoodie or anything else that you might find and like over there. That really helps the show grow, and then you get something in return, which we think is pretty cool. Also, Scotty, something awesome happened over the weekend, and we are now monetized. Our channel is monetized, so you can now send in super chats and super stickers, I think is what they're called.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you do send in a badge, a sticker, we'll call those out when they come in. We'll interrupt the show for that. All the other the super chats and chats, any other chats that we go through will be saved to the end, like we always do. But that's exciting news.
It is very exciting news. If you don't want to go over to the tip function, then in YouTube itself proper, you can support the show and YouTube as well. Yeah. And considering that is the house under which we serve, I'm sure that we would both appreciate it.
Also, we are streaming live on to both YouTube and Twitch. You can find a link to our Twitch channel page in the description below. So please do so. Also, our Facebook group, our Facebook page, that link is below, as well as our Twitter account, if you'd like to follow us there.
Yeah, please do. And also, thank you so much for subscribing, our newest subscriber, Chris Carr. Thank you so much for subscribing and paying attention to whatever it is that we happen to be doing here.
Before we get into the news and the box office, we did have an RIP that Scotty wanted to bring up. So I'll let you go ahead and do that, sir.
Well, a memorial of sorts. Marky Post, in my mind, best known as Christine Sullivan, public defender on Night Court. One of my first crushes from one of my favorite sitcoms, Night Court. This is not a gag. I really, really enjoyed everything about that sitcom. It is probably in my top 5 sitcoms of all time. Just it resides in my heart. And she is not. Marky Post was not just Christine Sullivan on Night Court. She was Mary's mom in There's Something About Mary. And going through her IMDb, I was absolutely shocked that she was in a Transformers show. She has been a prolific actress throughout her career. She was in Scrubs. And like, it is one of those things that makes me feel old. And as I lose my entertainment heroes, as life goes on and time progresses, as it will, it's a bit of a sad day or sad weekend for me. But I just wanted to pass that along. If you are a fan of Marky Post, I would recommend watching There's Something About Mary. Check out some Night Court shows. Watch the episode of 30 Rock where they recreate Night Court for the entertainment of Kenneth.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's just amazing. She was on the A-Team. She was in The Fall Guy, a legend of 80s television. And my thoughts and prayers are with the family. And Marky Post, you affected this young man when you were on screen. And for that, I thank you.
She will be missed.
She will be.
Okay, so we do have a program note. This Thursday's show will actually be going live 2 hours earlier, so 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, just due to some things that we have going on, trying to make the show better, actually, piping in some better, faster, more secure internet on my end. So we had a. If you guys watched the show on Friday, you'll notice we had a lot of lag and a lot of disruption, and that, I think a lot of that was on my end. And I just, the Wi-Fi here is good. It's just not good for streaming shows. So I'm gonna work on that for you guys and get taken care of this Thursday. So just kind of mark it down, in your calendars if you're following the show. We are going to go 2 hours early on Thursday. And we do have
that is August 12th. And the reason for inconveniencing you is to make things better for you, if you understand that.
We do have a special announcement that we will be sharing on that show. So tune in. Okay, Scotty, let's talk about the weekend box office.
Oh my God.
It was not pretty. The Suicide Squad did win the weekend. But it is considered a flop. They didn't reach nearly what they thought the movie would do. And I'm actually shocked. I thought this would do way better. I understand the reasons why it didn't. And we'll go into that a little later as we progress through the show. But for right now, let's just run down the top 10. We can go in order. I'll start off with the Suicide Squad, $26.5 million gross. Coming in second, Jungle Cruise with $15.6 million.
Yes.
Number three. Go ahead.
I was going to say Jungle Cruise is on, let's say 2 weeks until it reaches 100 mil.
Yeah, pretty close. Number three was Old with $4.1 million. Black Widow follows up in the number 4 spot with $4 million. Stillwater rounds out the top 5 with $2.8 million.
Wow.
The Green Knight pulls in $2.59 million, so almost $2.6 million for the number 6 spot. Space Jam: A New Legacy, $2.4 million. Number 7. Snake Eyes, $1.6 million. Escape Room: Tournament of Champions with $1.25 million in the number 9 spot. And rounding out the top 10, F9: The Fast Saga, $1.23 million. So not an overall great weekend box office for the top 10 movies. There are a couple notables in there. The Green Knight, Black Widow, and Old seem to be trucking along. Fast 9 kind of playing the catch-up spot. Snake Eyes and Space Jam seem to be kind of just steady. They are losing everybody's losing weekend over weekend. With Snake Eyes being the biggest hit at 60%. And Green Knight as well, 61.8%.
And so biggest hit to box office revenue.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that brings us to kind of our you know,
Why?
our second issue here is why the Suicide Squad stumbled at the box office. There are many reasons, and one can blame obviously COVID and the scare of this Delta variant. Whether you want to believe it or not, I do think the media is scaring people into their homes. And it's that's making a huge impact on people. Just don't, for some reason, are scared back into their homes. They're not going to the movies, and that's unfortunate. There's also some other issues, right? The first Suicide Squad wasn't very well received either.
Right.
So this follow up, we have kind of a. I know people love James Gunn, but there's still a bunch of new characters that people don't know. That I think that has a little bit to do with it. It's just a bunch of stuff, Scotty. Despite the best laid plans of Hollywood studios and cinema operators, the movie theater business is still struggling to mount a recovery from COVID-19. For a while, the box office looked poised to make a comeback with a string of pandemic-era record opening weekends, including A Quiet Place 2 at $48 million, F9 at $70 million, and Black Widow at $80 million in June and July. Despite a few well-timed theatrical hits, multiplexes aren't home free just yet. The persistent uphill battle that faces the film industry was illuminated this last weekend with the release of The Suicide Squad. The R-rated comic book adaptation, I'll stop there just to say that's another thing that might have kept people away, the R rating.
Yes.
For the mass audience.
Yes.
Had all the makings of a box office hit, stellar reviews, charismatic supervillains, and the cinematic anomaly of Sylvester Stallone as a digitized shark. However, Warner Brothers movie fell short of expectations, earning $26.5 million in its first 3 days of release in North America. The Suicide Squad generated another $35 million internationally, taking its overall tally to $72.2 million. Those figures were not entirely unexpected, considering the ongoing pandemic. But they are disappointing because the studio spent a massive $185 million to produce the film. At the latest $100 million, and at least $100 million more in promotional. So the hopes of steering its DC property in a direction that both critically and commercially viable. So what went wrong? Well, there's a bunch of stuff that went wrong, obviously. For one, the Delta variant has caused the country's COVID-19 cases to surge. I hate when media uses that term. Cases mean absolutely nothing. We have cases of all kinds of things all the time. So I wish they'd be more specific when they reported on that, but that's neither here nor there. And it's probably a conversation for a different time in a different place. Making audiences more hesitant to visit their local multiplex. In an interview with Variety last week, John Fithian, the head of the National Association of Theater Owners, or NATO, acknowledged its concerning lack of consumer confidence. But as more people get vaccinated, he hopes moviegoers will return. Me too. The confidence level has very much improved with rising vaccination rates. I hope that the Delta dip, as he called it, is short term, and let's hope so, because it's silly. At the same time, the film wasn't only available on the big screen. Now, this is going to lead us right into what we think is probably the main culprit. There's a lot of factors, but I do think this is the main factor, and it's something this industry is going to have to tackle. And that is, it was released simultaneously on HBO Max. Which likely cannibalized ticket sales to an unknowable degree. Now, we have talked about this, Scott, on the show
several times.
While we do believe this is a major contributing factor, I think a lot of pundits are getting it wrong, saying that this, because it's released on television or on HBO Max, that all those people would have gone to the theater, because we know that that's not the case. We just read to you why that's not the case. Would a percentage of them have gone to the theater? Yeah, maybe. We know people on this show, in our chat, that have said they don't want to see movies in theaters anymore. They rather watch them at home. So to just say that's the reason and that will fix the problem, that's not the case. It's what's unknowable is what the ratios are, right? How many of those would have gone to the theater? And that's just unknowable right now. Sooner or later, we're going to figure that out, though. We're going to get some numbers that actually make sense. The question here, so here's the big pull quote that from the article. It said, the question remains consistent in terms of whether the results were influenced by the pandemic, a day and date release strategy, consumer preferences, or a combination of all three. Yes. And that came from Paul Duragrib. Oh man. Duragribedian. Okay. A senior media analyst with ComScore. So yeah, I mean, I think the answer is yes to that. Actually, I think it's all three. It's all three. To what degree each one has, it's your guess as good as mine. But we do think I think the day and date release is having an impact, a bigger impact. Also, the media, scaring everybody back in their homes has a huge impact as well. I think in a perfect world, the day and date release strategy will work. But I do think, and Scotty and I were talking about this just real quick before the show, is that I think there has to be at least a 2-week window. Until there needs to be a 2-week window until you drop. The day and date is giving these movies, it's giving it too many options, right? Now the PVOD, that model may be different because it's an extra spend, but the day and date is having an impact with Warner Brothers films. There's just no doubt about it. In 2021, box office revenues are no longer the only way to determine the financial success or failure of a movie. That's good for something like Suicide Squad, which carries a sizable price tag and doesn't stand a chance of becoming profitable in its theatrical run. In this case, in the case of the Suicide Squad, as well as Warner Brothers' entire 2021 film slate, the studio is banking on boosting HBO Max subscribers in addition to selling movie tickets. So, Scotty, I know I was kind of long-winded there, but I did want to get all of this information out so we could have this conversation. What say you, good sir?
Well, thank you. My thoughts in regards to it, it's strange. We've been talking about innovations at movie theaters, and one of the first innovations at movie theaters was air conditioning. To try and draw people in on a hot summer's weekend to get out of the heat. And seeing as people around the world have been cooped up in their homes and not been able to socialize and whatnot, socializing while staring at a screen may not be their favorite thing right now. And if the option is there to go out and socialize, obviously distanced and masked and all that, then if you have the option to watch it late at night after you've had a 6-pack of whatever and you get home, that is probably the way that most people are going to deal with it. It isn't an event going to the theater currently. People being scared into their homes, I think that we are at a point now where, there is a certain level of fright in terms of interacting, and people are taking their own safety under their own advisement. But going to sit in a room with a bunch of people, strangers, is not at the top of everyone's list, no matter how intriguing the film may be. And also, and I had this conversation with a couple of people over the weekend, is, do you want to see a sequel, reboot, reimagining 4 or 5 years after the original flop? Is that a thing that you want to do on your Friday, Saturday night? I think that there are so many variables involved that I don't know. And that's why my introduction off the top was, we don't know. Like, you might as well be going to a fundraiser trying to guess how many jelly beans are in the jar to win a prize. When it comes to what is this movie going to make this weekend, I don't know. And it is, in my opinion, I think it's the more prevalent option of, this has to be a secure 4-quadrant movie where families, parents, kids, an R-rated, ironic, gory superhero genre movie could be a difficult draw without anything else. Like a talking shark, my parents aren't going to see that.
Right.
Like, and my nieces are not old enough to see that, no matter how hard I try to convince my sister. Yeah. So I think that there are so many variants that, pardon my pun, but I think that there are variables that we don't even know about. And to try and figure out which way the wind is a-blowing is kind of futile.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are way too many variables.
I'd rather hang out in the backyard at 7:00 on a Saturday night with my friends drinking beer than go to a movie theater. Look, and as you've mentioned, you go first show, you see it in the afternoon, and you have the whole day ahead of you. But that's not necessarily a thing that everyone can do,
and it's not a thing that most people do.
Right.
Most people still, I think, the majority of people go to movies as date night.
Mm-hmm. Well, are people still making out?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But it's definitely, still a date thing, I think, or a group of friends go. It's a group activity. But you're right. There's like, the R rating, I think it hampers it. Obviously safety hampers it. People's feeling comfortable in group settings. Obviously there's a bunch of hampering going on, right, with this movie. Look, let's face it, people like you and me and people that watch a show like this, we're watching this show, we're watching this movie regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not we're not the majority of moviegoers. We're maybe 7 to 8%, 10 maybe nowadays, but it's still only 10% of the movie going audience cares as much as we do about this kind of stuff. They just
agree. No. What did you do last night, Scott? I went to go see the new Peter Capaldi movie. Who the F is Peter Capaldi is what I hear most of the time. So,
Polka Dot Man? Who's Polka Dot Man? What's a Polka Dot Man? What the hell am I? What am I watching? Right? No, I get it.
Big shout out to Pokeroo. There's a Canadian reference for you, Pokeroo. And I missed him again. You did this weekend.
As good as the movie is, it's just, you know what I mean. You're right. It was an uphill battle. Obviously, it didn't do what they wanted it to. It's not going to get anywhere near, But look, that's all these movies. Mm-hmm. None of these movies that have been released in 2021 have made its budget. They've broken even. Not one of them that I know of. So I mean, we're living with that.
Yes.
There may be a couple that are really close after. I'd have to go back and look at like Godzilla King of the Monsters, A Quiet Place 2. They're probably real close to breaking even. The problem is, I just, in this new paradigm that we're living in, I just don't know if that's actually going to, I don't know. Here's the problem with that. Everything is going to suffer.
Of course.
Because now we're not going to get, I'm talking about, the streaming model is quantity over quality. So now, we're not going to be spending. So studios aren't going to be spending $200 million on movies anymore.
No, I understand that. And that is something that since these big budget movies that were made pre-pandemic have been released, these are big budget movies that are trying to recoup their budgets. And based on what we've been talking about, creativity and new movies and how you do these properties, even established intellectual properties, I think that the restrictions on movies breed creativity. And I hope that that is represented in the movies because of the restrictions. It's like you don't have that money anymore. You cannot throw $200 million at a movie to make something successful anymore. You actually have to try harder, Homer, and make these things work.
So a lot of us have been calling for this kind of reset, for movies to stop, paying these outrageous amounts of money, bring it down, make better quality product, and you can do these movies on a, for less than $150 million, way less. It's been proven time and time again, so that's not the issue. So maybe this is a forced reset for that. Maybe this is how that reset's going to come about.
Well, maybe this reset will be great.
I hope.
Anyway,
not.
Moving on.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Let's not go there.
No. I don't want to talk about it. I just wanted to make a joke.
Yeah. So I mean that's definitely a thing, right? To where this may force the industry to take a step back. The problem though is with the streaming model, because now that we're gonna get 12 months of day and date release, either free at Warner Brothers with HBO Max or with the premium video on demand with Disney Plus. Both of those models are now conditioning the audiences that they get to see the movie at home when it's released, day and date, either by paying a premium or just free. Now, how do we put the toothpaste back in the tube? I don't, you know what I mean? Because now we've conditioned audiences to say, oh, well, I can see it the same day that it drops in theaters. That's going to be interesting walk back, how they walk that back. How do we put the toothpaste back in the tube? Do you think that that's going to be an issue, or do you think they'll just do it and audiences be damned?
Well, as I've mentioned before, being a Canadian, our day and date releases through the avenues that are available to us through cable companies, they've been essentially reneged. I don't think that they are available day and date through HBO Max is not available in Canada. And so the cable company that was offering that with things like Justice League, that like Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's not on the table for us anymore, I don't think. And so I don't think you can put it back in the tube, but I think that it's going to be a regional effort. I'd have to talk to people who live in different localities to find out if they have the availability to the day and date. But home theaters are absolutely enticing. Being able to do whatever you want while you're watching the film is paramount. We live in a world of human guinea pigs. Me first in the gimme pigs. Right. So they want it now or they don't want it. And also I thought it was really interesting that as opposed to Disney Plus, who released their revenue through Disney Plus for Black Widow, there has been nary a peep from HBO Max or Warner from what their revenue was from it.
Because they're not going to get revenue. We won't get revenue numbers, but they could release subscriber numbers in the run up to these movies. One would assume that the 2-week period before the release, like Suicide Squad or Dune or whatever it's going to be, would see a massive spike in, and so even the 7 days run up would see a massive spike in subscribers. So. Well, and as we were releasing those numbers at all. So.
Well, and as we were discussing before the show started, there is a certain level of protection of industry in Canada. And if the cinema is going to, like, if movie theaters, the biggest theater chain in Canada is Cineplex. if that is going to affect that industry, then they are going to sort of get their ducks in a row, make sure those dominoes don't crash into each other. So it could be a business organization to ensure the fair play of these business models. I don't know. I'm just a guy on the internet.
Right. I don't see that flying here. It's an interesting kind of conundrum that the industry is going to have to figure out. Along with, like we said, and even somebody mentioned in one of the article I just read that, how we measure movies and successful opening weekends is going to change. It's changing as we speak. What that looks like at the end, we don't know yet, but it's absolutely changing. Kind of dovetailing onto this, James Gunn says movies last because they're seen on television, not in the movie theater. He's absolutely right. He's 100% right, dude. But first, they have to be released in the theater. And he goes on to say, Gunn said, I'm not going to slit my wrists if people choose to stream The Suicide Squad over going to the movie theater.
Interesting analogy considering Suicide Squad.
Right?
Yes.
I'm sure I'm sure that was a purposeful.
He's a clever boy. He is
a clever boy. Good writer. That's probably where that comes from. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad underwhelmed at the box office this weekend. Despite estimates it could cross 30 million, it only earned 26.5. But HBO Max chief Andy Frossell told The Hollywood Reporter that the R-rated DC comic book tentpole became the second most viewed film. We were just saying that. An opening weekend on HBO Max since we began the day and date release with theaters. So the first one I think was and still is Godzilla Godzilla versus Kong, right? And then so this they're saying if we are to believe what he said, he didn't release any numbers. He just said that it's the second highest watched weekend opener.
Well, Andy's happy.
Yeah, so it looks like it. So how does Gunn feel about his film debuting on a streaming service? I don't really care that much, the director recently told Variety. I really just care about whatever the project is in front of me, Gunn said. The Suicide Squad is made to be seen first and foremost on the big screen. I think it's going to work just fine on television. Listen, movies don't last because they're seen on the big screen. Movies last because they're seen on television. Jaws isn't still a classic because people are watching it in theaters. I've never seen Jaws in a movie theater. It's one of my favorite movies. So that's interesting that's where he's going, right? I think he's got a clear kind of point of view here.
Well, I wouldn't expect the guy from Trauma to be saying it's like, well, I don't really care about the theater. Like most of his early, like Romeo and Juliet was not seen in theaters primarily. It was seen on television, and I understand that, and I understand that nostalgic that feel of popping in a VHS or that DVD that you had to search for. But still, like that. I don't know. This is just on the fly, and I'm reacting to these comments as they're presented to me. But I would hope that I don't want to go all Christopher Nolan, but I would hope that a movie maker would want to support the cinema.
Yeah, and I don't think he's saying not to, because he said the Suicide Squad is made to be seen first and foremost on the big screen.
Yes,
but what makes the movies last is
true.
The ability to watch them on television.
Yes.
Whether that's in a physical media form or on a streamer or what have you, broadcast TV or whatever it may be. So he's not favoring one over the other. He's just making the point that, listen, even in regular time without pandemic and all this other stuff, we have a 60 to 90 day runtime for movies in the theater. It's not like the 70s where you'd watch the movie would stay in the theater for years. So it only has a small window, 90-day window, and then it's off to DVD and other physical media, and then on these streamers now.
Mm-hmm.
So he did make a pretty good point. At least I think so, in my opinion.
He did. There was part of the marketing campaign for the Suicide Squad was go see it at the biggest screen you can. It was shot in IMAX. Seeing Starro in IMAX sounds delightful. But yeah, I don't.
But look, Scotty, I'm guilty. I'm the guilty one. I couldn't wait. I watched it Thursday night or Thursday afternoon here in California because I couldn't wait. I wanted to see this thing so badly.
Well, I know a friend who is great. He is a movie goer. He is a fan, and he watched it on his phone.
Right. That's
so
crazy.
It would make that there. Who created Twin Peaks? David Lynch.
David Lynch.
It would make David Lynch quit.
Yeah. Right.
Watching Suicide Squad on your phone.
On your phone. I know, but listen, this is the world we live in, and if movie fans, I mean, diehard movie fans and movie people that make movies are opting to watch movies at home and on their phones or tablets or what have you.
Their Apple Watches.
It's
like Dick Tracy.
It's just not. I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't think the movie theaters are in trouble of going away, but there's going to be some changes. And what those changes look like, I don't know. It's hard to crystal ball this one.
It just reminds me of when you have like a big store and then they rent out the store next to them and they've obviously downsized. And it's like movie theaters may get smaller, or that the buildings that were made as the movie theater, the movie house, and it's like half of it's going to be a gym and the other half will be a movie theater. I don't know what the future holds, but like if there is one thing that I've learned from this weekend in terms of the anticipation of a $40 million weekend and the good word of mouth and the fans who were just absolutely like, I haven't seen anything that said this sucks. Everyone says this is a great movie. This is something that you should see in a big screen. It is engaging. I've even been like, oh my God, how did DC make a better movie than Marvel this year? And so these are things that no one has anticipation for. It is a complete and total reorganization of the model and the anticipation and the expectation. And so I'm looking forward to the future.
The movie is really good, but it's not for everybody. I think I said that in a private chat over the weekend on Friday. I might have said it on our show. I don't remember, but yeah, it's not going to be for everybody. It's gory, and if gore's not your thing, James Gunn has this incredible ability to infuse heart and emotion in gore all together. So it's not, he doesn't forsake one for the other, which is rare talent in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So there's that too. There's heart, but it's a gory movie. And so some people's sensibilities probably may have seen that and like, I'd go, but I'm not into gore. So there's a lot of issues.
A James Gunn movie is much like a rose, to wax poetic. It is beautiful, but if you touch it, you're going to get hurt.
Yep. You can get hurt.
You can.
Anyways, so we spent a lot of time on that, but I think it was it was important. It's it's important to the movies that we love, because the industry's changing right before our eyes, and we just we're trying our best to kind of keep up and keep ahead of what's going on, but it's I don't have the answer. And fortunately for me, I don't have to come up with the answer. I just get to talk about it on the internet.
And we will see you on Friday when we discuss Margot Robbie's incoming lawsuit against Warner Brothers.
Right. For her back-end deal.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I don't know how that's...
Who cares?
Warner Brothers
whatever. We'll deal with it when it comes.
Right. And Warner Brothers seemed to be pretty good at paying them up front because they knew that they were going to get a lot of pushback. And they did. And for good reason.
I can't believe that Space Jam is still in the top 10.
Yeah, me neither. I have no. Yeah.
I
Well,
still want to see it, but yeah,
maybe you should.
I will.
But see the Suicide Squad first.
Yes, of course.
Because
Actually,
it is good.
I'm going to see Pig first. I've been told to see Pig first, then Suicide Squad, and then approximately 4 to 8 hours later, I will see Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Awesome. Well, we do have news from the VOT News Network. That
I'm just getting this over my headset. Yep. We have an emergency interruption. Steve?
7 on 7 with Cameron Coleman breaking into the broadcast.
It's the 7th of August, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping. I'm Cameron Coleman, and this is 7 on 7, bringing you VNN's top 7 stories from around the globe. Supersonic, the triple threat superhero previously known as Drummer Boy, continues to shoot up VOT's global hero charts. The former teen heartthrob may have been out of the spotlight for a while, but it seems he's put his adolescent antics and rehab-ridden past behind him as he continues to show the world the Superman he's become. Rumors are also swirling about Supersonic's relationship with Starlight during his Drummer Boy days, and whether old sparks could reignite following this handsome hero's ultra.
I forgot about Drummer Boy!
Speaking of America's super sweetheart, Starlight may be burning brighter than ever, but some fans are worried that she's burning both ends of the candle. Well, let me assure you, Starlight's heroic ambition is exactly that, heroic. Maybe if local law enforcement was more proactive in dealing with criminal activity, these fake news stories claiming exhaustion may be more honest in their reporting. In this reporter's humble opinion, that girl is truly getting it done. The Seven's former aquatic Avenger is making waves with his harsh allegations against the Church of the Collective. As one of the organization's highest-profile members, the Deep has abruptly shifted his stance, bringing alleged claims of psychological manipulation, corporate corruption, and, we quote, an unholy obsession with Fresca against the church and its leader, Alistair Adana, who sources say still remains unaccounted for. A group of Homelander fans who recently gathered in El Paso to create a human wall were treated at a local hospital after being found by U.S. border agents who discovered the group severely dehydrated and suffering from massive sunstroke. When asked for comment, they said they were just trying to do their part to help keep out super terrorists. Thoughts and prayers to all of them. More after this.
Oh, the commercial! I forgot!
When there's no more missions, when the fans move on, and the lights of fame dim, where do you turn to fill that void? Alcohol? Adrenochrome-laced cocaine? Heroin enemas? Face making? Do you even know what rock bottom is anymore?
No.
So, before you spend another dollar in a crazy world full of temptations, know this. VOT hears you. Now we need to hear from you. Because even heroes need saving sometimes. Global Wellness Center by VOT. Because there's no super without you. Global Wellness Center by VOT is a proud sponsor of VNN.
Oh boy.
To V or not to V? That's the question on everyone's mind as VOT announces an immediate halt to the production of Compound V. Following an extensive public backlash prompted by the sharing of illegally obtained documents, VOT International has pulled the controversial product to allow for further testing. When asked for comment, VOT International CEO Stan Edgar had this to say.
While recent unfounded claims have been directed towards our product, VOT remains committed to our customers. We will continue to deliver the level of quality and excellence we're known for, and use this time to recalibrate and improve as we look towards a brighter future.
Queen Maeve attended the openings of 2 brand new VOT LGBTQ teen centers in Minnesota's Twin Cities this past weekend. The mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul jointly applauded the brave work done by VOT to benefit the local youth communities through their inclusive Explore Your Pronouns, Boys, Girls, Trans, and Non-Binary summer camps. And in our final story, in true super speed style, A-Train leaves retirement in the dust as he sprints right back into the 7. Flashing his $1 million smile at a Vought press conference earlier this week, America's favorite speedster proudly proclaimed he's been training hard, is feeling better than ever, and will be announcing his next race soon. Since then, online speculation has been running wild with fans eager to figure out who the Blue Blur's mystery opponent will be. Really great to see him again. Such an amazing athlete, and can't wait to see him back on the track. Well, that's all for now. Until next time, this is VNN's Cameron Coleman. And from me and everyone here at Vought Tower, stay true to the red, white, and blue. And I'll see you next time.
Well, thanks, Cameron. Thanks for breaking into the show.
That's great. That's just great.
Those things are awesome.
They are. They are really, really good. I can't wait for the new season. Do we have a release date on that season?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
No, I don't know either, but that is, if you guys, everyone who is watching this, if you haven't seen The Boys, I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just got a few more things to cover, and then we'll go over to the chat. Mike Flanagan's Midnight. Oh, so this teaser dropped today. This looked really good. Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass teaser. A supernatural storm is brewing on Crockett Island. Next, Netflix released the official trailer for Midnight Mass, the upcoming supernatural horror series from Mike Flanagan. This was Flanagan's a creator and director, and wrote the Haunting of Hill House and a Haunting of Bly Manor, both of which were great. Mm-hmm. And he put this out in a letter with the trailer, and I have it, so I'll share it with you guys. There we go. And it reads, Crockett Island, Office of Harbor Master. I'm just going to admit it. Midnight Mass is my favorite project so far. Cool. As a former altar boy about to celebrate 3 years of sobriety, it's not hard to see what makes this so personal. The ideas at the root of this show scare me to my core. There is a darkness at work on Crockett Island. Some of it is supernatural, but the scariest is born of human nature. The darkness that animates the story isn't hard to see in our own world, unfortunately. But this show is about something else as well, faith itself. One of the greatest mysteries of human nature, how even in the darkness, in the worst of it, in the absence of light and hope, we sing. I hope you enjoy our song, Mike Flanagan. Yeah, so this dropped today. If you get a chance to, you should check it out. It's on YouTube. It should be on Facebook too. You should be able to find it. It looks good. I liked both of those series. They were more of a slow burn, but I enjoyed those. So I'm looking forward to this. What do you say, Scott?
Well, and with his previous projects, I've used watching a book as a derogatory, and you called it a slow burn yourself, but yeah. it is watching chapters of a story. And I enjoyed The Haunting on Hill House, and I do really, I like those. It's horror shows, much like horror novels. I'm like, what? But I think that Netflix with The Haunting of Hill House really brought that tension. I wouldn't say it's a horror, but it was definitely a tension, right. And I look forward to it. Like, as if you've been watching the show, I'm still trying to figure out my fantasy and horror, and that was one of the ones that I delved into. And
did you watch the second or the other one, The Haunting of Bly Manor?
I did not watch Bly Manor.
That one's that's even kind of slower. It's a little different. That's more. That was even more just tense. I think, I guess you'd call it. It's in the horror genre, but I don't know. It's more like
supernatural thriller.
Yeah, thriller kind of deal.
But I'm
tension
fine with that
builder.
as long. But that's like I enjoy something as long as it is available to a little bit of levity.
Mhm.
And I thought that The Haunting of Hill House did have enough, even just in the characters,
Yeah.
to acknowledge the levity of the situation as opposed to being all below the like it just below the surface. Just, oh no, it's all going to happen soon. I swear it's going to be scary. You're going to be scared. Cat.
Right.
Like it there in terms of the crafting of it. And so if this is something that he has confidence in, then sure.
Okay. Next up is Jennifer Lawrence and Paolo Sorrentino. Let me try that again. Sorrentino's Hollywood agent biopic gets reported 80 million streaming offer. Man, these streamers are pumping money into these projects for a biopic. That's crazy. Top streamers such as Apple and Netflix are reportedly bidding on the biopic about legendary Hollywood talent agent Sue Mangers, with Jennifer Lawrence tapped to star in the lead role. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about this. First of all, does Jennifer Lawrence command that kind of money? Sure. I
Oscar
suppose
winner.
She does. She's an Oscar winner. She's awesome. But for a biopic, 80 million sounds like and that's not to make the movie. That's just to get it, right? They're just bidding to be able to make the movie. So the Apple's bid is in the 80 million range, says one source. This one includes 20 million plus fee for Lawrence to star and produce. Yeah, that's nuts. What do you think about that kind of money?
Well, I recently was presented with an economic sort of primer, a booster about Hollywood economics and how each movie themselves ultimately become businesses, limited corporations unto themselves, each film. And they are searching for money to make their stories and their films. And after something like Mank, in terms of
which I love, by the way,
and biopics in general tend to be darlings of the festival circuit. So it could be an Oscar contender, could be a Golden Globe contender, and especially if you have someone like Jennifer Lawrence attached, I don't see anything wrong with that 80 million to finance this film. And movies about movies also tickle the fancy of the audience for people like us, like our audience. We like the references. We like, okay, this is who this was, how this was. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is in my top 3 Quentin Tarantino movies. And while I'm not necessarily all that big a fan of the guy, well, no, I am a big a fan of the guy who played Steve McQueen. I forget his name at the moment, but like, I just like those references. I enjoy these stories of Hollywood, and I think that if Apple and Netflix are bidding in a war, then it's a movie about a biopic and a talent agent, sort of the person behind the talent, behind the stars that you know. Sure. Hey, if I had a choice between biopics or remakes, I'll take a biopic any day of the week.
Well, I agree with that. I do agree with that. It just seems like a lot of money for to bid on something. But if that's going to ultimately be what they spend, maybe half with another 40 million on marketing. If it's Netflix, you won't get much marketing probably. They don't like market anything, but Apple might market, but I don't know. Well, so if that's the total price tag, then that's okay to actually get the rights and then do the movie. Then I think 80 million is okay. It's just when I first read this, it sounded like it was 80 million to get it, and then they were going to spend whatever it cost to make the movie. But we'll see about that. But that's that movie looks like it's going to happen either at Apple or Netflix. So I guess we'll look forward to that. I've always looked forward to Jennifer Lawrence's movies, anyways. I think she's a stellar actor. And
did you see Joy?
I did.
And you liked it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, me too.
I did.
All right. It's one of those things I'm afraid to admit that I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like. It's, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I'm usually in a minority on a lot of movies anyways that people trash and I like them. So
I have the complete DVD box set of the Bill Engvall Show.
There you go. So that should tell you something.
Well, I'm a Jennifer Lawrence fan.
Yeah. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, international release date delayed.
Yeah.
So, and this kind of ties into the beginning of the show. The new trailer for Venom, Let There Be Carnage had some fans worried about its pending debut, as there was no release date attached to the end of the ad. There has been no major announcement about a worldwide delay, and the current September 24th premiere date for North America is still in place. But the holds have started in other parts of the world. This week, Venom's debut in New Zealand was hit with a delay. Event Cinemas in New Zealand now lists an October 14th release date for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. The film was originally set to be released on September 23rd in that country, meaning that the supposed push will delay the sequel about 3 weeks. So it looks like it's starting to happen in other places with these movies. I think we mentioned prior on the show and prior to this show, you and I talked about No Time to Die and the possibility of that being delayed. I hope not. I hope we can kind of just muscle through this thing and get people back in the theaters, but it doesn't look great. And with news of more delays in other parts of the world, we'll just have to see how that all kind of plays out. Another trailer that got dropped today was another The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf. I won't go too much into it. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you find trailers. That looks good. It's very, the anticipation's high for this, and for good reason. The Witcher series was really good. So I think that's on your to-do list too, isn't it, Scotty?
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm supposed to watch The Witcher before Stranger Things, though, right?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Dune released another poster. Nothing too big about the poster. It's a floating head poster, which I could care less about. The one thing that it did reiterate that they have not changed their plans to release this thing on day and date on HBO Max.
Yeah, you can watch this giant cinematographical exuberance and excellence. You can watch it on a 4-inch screen if you so desire, you damned heathen.
Yeah, heathens, you damn dirty apes.
And if you are watching these on your phones, when I say heathen, I mean it with a hug.
Yes, with love.
A socially distanced hug.
Yes. So our last story of the day, Scotty.
Okay. May I?
Yes, you want to go?
I have no idea why this is included, but I'm super jazzed.
Yeah.
So Brendan Fraser's facial hair is just one of the highlights in Doom Patrol's first season 3 trailer. At long last, HBO Max has released fans' first good look at how Doom Patrol will follow up on its depressing AF season 2 finale. I was going to say it, but I'm not going to. And it looks like things are going to get magnificently trippy when season 3 arrives this fall. The DC comic outcasts are sure to fall through the rabbit hole in the aftermath of their confrontation with the deadly Candlemaker. I haven't seen this at all. And at some point during the trip to the past seen in the trailer, which is readily available on all of the internet that you must have. Viewers will get to enjoy the further magnificence in the form of Brendan Fraser's facial hair. But there's more to it than just that, of course. But since it's already been discussed, let's ogle and appreciate Brendan Fraser's mustache and chops in season 3 as his character Cliff Steele is presumably holding his daughter Clara in the time before he mostly destroyed his entire life ahead of becoming Robot Man for Timothy Dalton's Chief. It appears Fraser was gearing up to star in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale when he was filming Doom Patrol. And anytime he gets to rock his NASCAR look, the author is here for it, even if it doesn't tie into the Alice in Wonderland stuff.
Or does it?
Does it?
So I'm super jazzed. This is one of my favorite shows on TV. Like
I've seen some episodes, but I haven't followed it religiously.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So if you've been watching this show, you know my three favorites are The Boys, Doom Patrol, and The Umbrella Academy. I think are the 3 best superhero comic book genre TV shows on TV right now.
With that Elliot Page boy?
Yes.
Okay.
That's really good too.
Nice.
I don't put it above the other 2, but it's right up in the top 3.
Nice.
But Doom Patrol's absolutely awesome. Bonkers in all the best ways. So yeah, seeing Brendan Fraser's chops and mustache was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, that's a different look, but yay. It's a great character for him, and I can't wait for season 3 to drop.
I enjoy everything about the Brendan Fraser surgeons.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's doing stuff, and if with the Darren Aronofsky, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, The Whale.
Really.
That looks good too. Okay, that sounds good. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Shall we go over to the chat and see what everybody's saying today?
What are you guys saying today? Black Philip Alvarez, member of the channel. Heavens, if you'd like to see Black Philip Alvarez's show, you should go over to the Fantasmagorium.com. But Black Philip Alvarez says, that thumbnail breaks my heart. What's to blame? What's to blame it on more the HBO Max release or the pandemic?
I think both. You know?
Too many variables.
But both of those are at the top.
Mm-hmm. Naladoc, hello. And Todd Michael says, support the Fantasmagorium show with tips and questions at the links provided and
Thank
Fantasmagorium show on the Facebook. Also, Todd Michael, have you met Naladoc?
Yeah.
You guys should hang out. And I said, ahoy, friends. And Todd Michael said, hello, Mr. 37, R37.
We're going to have a bunch of hellos, everybody.
Yeah, well, then let's just plow through those. Hello, Doctor. Sly Snide. Welcome,
Doctor.
Sly Snide. Doctor. Sly Snide says, could be because the Delta variant is spreading fast per CDC reports. Could be. From what I understand, it's always been very, very contagious. Todd Michael says, Pokeroo, Kanga's less famous child. True. Kanga's Canadian child. You guys don't know Pokeroo? That's weird.
I'm not familiar.
That's fine. It's a Canadian television show. It was the polka dot door, and so there was a dinosaur dog puppet, and like almost in a full Big Bird sort of suit. But Pokeroo.
This is my I don't give a face.
You can just say I don't give a.
I don't give a.
All right,
face.
Moving on. Todd Michael says, I did not know HBO Max is not in Canada. Such things are so silly. Yes, there are licensing rights in different regions.
Rules.
Yeah.
Freaking rules. Who knew?
Hey, Bunyan Snipe is here. Hey, everyone. Hey,
buddy.
Bunyan. Todd Michael says, ahoy.
Mr. Snipe.
Todd Michael says, you know you are old when you saw Jaws in the original release when you were 6. Still shocks me that my mother took me to that at 6. Oh, the 70s.
Yep.
What an era. Yeah. No, I know.
Seat belts. You could. My mom. We used to get in the back of the how the
station wagon
window. No, like the window of the back that it had like a platform, right?
Yeah.
When you're a little kid, you get up in there and hang out. God, it was so dangerous, but yeah.
Yeah, and then someone would brake suddenly, and it was hilarious to them.
Dad drove around with an open can of beer in his lap. I mean, it was just, the 70s were great.
Yeah. Bunyan Snipe says hello to Todd Michael. Telephone. Todd Michael says support the Phantasm.
Oh.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't mean to be dismissive, and we appreciate it. Please do exactly as that has said. Todd Michael says Starro's spore release and parts of his body triggered some triphobia problems I have, but still loved it, except when he destroyed the classic VW Beetle. Well, your affinity to German cars of the people is well lamented lore. Bunyan Snipe says, can't wait for this.
And I think it's the boys that we're talking about. Yeah, me either. Yes, heroin enemas. Yeah. I like I love the commercials, right? So the news, the 7-on-7 news is pretty cool, but so far I've really dug the commercials in on those pieces.
Absolutely. And again, we discussed this after the 7-on-7 with Cameron the last time, and you were saying that you hope that it swung both ways.
And it did.
And it does.
Yeah.
I love it. Bunyan Snipe says, in this climate, why is so much money flying around? Even before the COVID Knives Out deal would have been insane. But now these huge sums seem somewhat short-sighted, to say the least. Well, agreed, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, no, these are all pre-pandemic deals in terms of how much money you're going to spend on a movie. And quite frankly, I think budgets are going to shrink. And if they don't, well, then I'm just going to poke executives in the eye and be like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Stop spending so much. Your cast does not need an unlimited supply of fruit roll-ups.
The problem with that's going to be a huge problem with the streaming. But right now, because of the streaming wars are happening, there's so much money there because, let's face it, it's guaranteed money. Studios never had guaranteed money. They never had subscription-based anything. Now these streamers have these subscription bases where every month there's money coming in, so they can borrow against all of that, and that's what they're doing. Well, now, Steve, someday that Ponzi scheme is going to come home to roost, right? But as long as they keep adding subscribers, but here's what's going to happen with that. Is you're going to get to a point of diminishing returns, right? And then you're gonna see the quality. Not that the quality is super fantastic right now, but the quality is going to go down even more because it's going to be all we need to do is push out 1, 2, or 3 really good pieces of content per year and just fill the rest with mediocre or mediocrity, right? I hope that's not the model, but that is going to be the model.
I disagree.
Because this is what happens when the bean counters get to make the decisions, and that's who makes these decisions. I hope that's not the case, and I know you disagree. I hope that's not the case. But until I'm proven wrong, we'll see. We're going to have to see because it happens in every other sector of business. It happens.
We just had a representation of a complete creative control with James Gunn doing the Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah, that was pre this paradigm.
That is true. That is true. But I don't know who will win, if it's going to be the creatives or the bean counters. I think that the restrictions of a lower budget will enable the creatives to be more creative and try and figure out how to do things in camera or how not to show everything all the time. Like Jaws itself was let's show the shark. Well, we're going to show and it was just like, no, we can't. It's not going to work. Yeah. It will not. It will cost too much money and it's going to look stupid. No one is going to like it. And the only reason I reference Jaws is because James Gunn did. And
Sure.
then the creativity takes hold. And so these restrictions, I think restrictions breed creativity. And I'm looking forward to that, as opposed to people saying, I don't have enough money to make my cake.
I completely agree with that, but that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the streamers themselves saying, we don't care how good or bad your product is. We just need it. And we need it by X date.
Okay.
Period. So
Steve,
that's
you want to pitch something to Netflix? We should pitch something to Netflix.
I absolutely do. I wish I could.
No, we can. We can now. Well, we could probably get like $4,000.
I don't know. I wish we could, because I definitely have an anthology series that I'd love to pitch to them. But that's not how that works. Usually. You know. In fact, one of these days coming up on the show, just to take a little detour, we will air my animated short that I did for for Rob's Film Festival. We'll air it here and we'll talk about it.
Are we going to do an audio commentary? Are you going to do an audio commentary?
I don't know if I'll do an audio commentary, but you and I will be on the show, so there's no reason why we can't talk about it. But maybe not for the first, maybe not, because it may be a lot of our audience may not have ever seen it, and maybe want to see it without us jack jawing all over it. But we'll see how that works out.
I do have a tendency to jack jaw,
but I do absolutely want to show it, and then talk about it with the audience, because I'd love to get some feedback on it. Obviously, it's not exactly the way I want it, but it's what I was able to do with the time and budget restrictions I had.
I'm just saying, that's not the way that animated people walk upstairs. No,
it's not. It may be how animated people walk upstairs. It's not how real people walk upstairs.
You know what? After I said that, I was afraid that you were going to punch me through the screen.
Oh no.
Thank you.
No, I mean, I know. Look, I know what happened with that. I didn't have the money to do it what I wanted, but I had the money to get it done on time.
It is available. It is available on this channel if you guys want. The Pale Man. Yeah, you guys should check it out. It's a 20-minute animated film, and it is glorious. It is gloriously animated and narrated. The story is engaging. I would recommend you check it out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bunyan Snipe says Bunyan Snipe says Damian Lewis. Yes,
I like Damian Lewis.
That is the gentleman who played Steve McQueen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Thank you so much, Bunyan. I was going to respond to it immediately, but I thought I'd save it for now. Bunyan Snipe continues on. The Venom delay could be down to the new deal with Disney, maybe, possibly. And I'm hoping, it's going to be rated R, right?
No, I don't think so. I think PG-13. I think it's still PG. Yeah, I don't think it's an R.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, please.
I could be.
Todd Michael says, sad emo Uso is very sad and very emo. Agreed. Sure. Bunyan Snipe says, or you could put your phone into a cheap VR headset and watch it in a virtual cinema. Hey, I have a cheap VR headset. Good tip. Good tip. Thank you, Bunyan.
I remember. I think I was on. I think you and I were on a private Zoom call once with some of our friends, and I was saying that I thought that was a cool thing that you could go into a cinema in VR and watch a movie with everybody and talk but I never tried it, so I'm curious to try it out and see how it worked.
Google Cardboard. It's like $12. Todd Michael says, hey, that's Bunyan Snipe's facial hair in regards to
to Brendan Fraser.
That's the guy.
Yep.
Todd Michael says, Naladoc is a total Tanuk. Well, and if you read it backwards, I'm sure you'll get his meaning.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday?
Quite. Terje, sorry, just made it. Was out picking up a desk, in case I need it. Well, Terje, it's always a pleasure. I'm glad that you got your desk. I hope that you got a discount and used the coupon that we recommended.
And hopefully you use it for something good.
Or evil. It's up to you, man.
Yeah.
Just take over the world. That's all we want. Bunyan Snipe says Sky did a 5-year deal with Warner Brothers, which means we won't get HBO Max in the UK till 2024.
Damn.
Well, and I don't know how things are going in England, how the UK is dealing with their cinema situation. Terje says for desking and stuff. Oh, yes.
That's right.
Todd Michael.
Terje.
Terje!
With a bunch of exclamation points.
Terje says to Todd Michael, I like that you greet me with dog's enthusiasm. Makes me feel all loved. Yes, Todd Michael did pee on the floor.
A little bit.
Todd Michael says, I cannot lie. I enjoy your company and your conversation. And Todd Michael says, what the hell is jack jawing? Oh, wait, I'm on a computer. I'll Google it. Thank you. 'Tis your advice, sir. Jaw jacking. I don't know. I was just playing along. What is it, Steve?
Profusely running on at the mouth.
That is what we do for this.
Yeah.
And it's fun for other people as well.
Jackjaw.
I'm digging it. Todd Michael says, Usul, Paul Atreides' hidden Fremen name. It does not look like it will be used in this adaptation. So
Probably not.
What?
But I guarantee he'll be referred to as the Mahdi and Muad'Dib.
Well, you can call him whatever you want as long as you don't call him late for dinner.
Yeah. At least by the end. This is only the first half, so we'll see. We'll have to see how far. We'll have to see how far the character Paul Atreides actually goes in this new movie. I can't wait for it.
Bunyan Snipe says, Todd Michael, sadly, I did not trademark it. Bad. And Terje says, totally back at you. And Bunyan Snipe says, badly. Bunyan Snipe says, is it jumping onto a shark's back and ordering to go to Cuba? Yes.
Sure.
Todd Michael says they'll definitely call him Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib.
Sure. I don't speak Spanish.
Mahdi.
Bunyan Snipe says, is it jumping onto a shark's back and ordering to go to Cuba?
To go to
IT
Cuba.
to Cuba?
IT. Do they have internet in Cuba?
Of course they do.
Do they?
Sure.
Was I just being an asshole? Maybe.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if they have it in there or not.
They've got it
I know
all
they
over
left
the
their
place.
50 cars in Cuba, though. That's damn right.
Yeah, but the classic cars in Cuba are so astonishing.
Yeah, they are.
Like, I admire every car in Cuba.
Okay, buddy. I think we've worn it out today.
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah.
I think we are done. We're just
Jaws jacking.
jaws jacking. Anyways, great show today. Remember, guys, we are going to be 2 hours early this Thursday.
Yes.
So
And
come
that is
join
the
us
12th.
early at 11 Pacific for the Thursday show.
Yes.
Other than that, we do have some big announcements coming soon. I think Thursday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have something to do with Terje's desk, but
Yeah.
we don't know. Anyways,
Yeah, we do.
I think we'll keep it.
Let's just
short.
go. Let's go. I'll keep
I
talking
think
if we don't go.
I think we've worn out our welcome for today's show.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody in the chat. We're nothing without the chat. We see it's mostly all of our moderators having a good time back and forth. But we thank you for doing that. We thank you for being here. And until next time, for Scotty R37, I am Steve Foley. Have a great day, everybody.
See you guys. Lick, comment, subscribe.